African Americans have not always been free in America. After the Civil War, slavery was forbidden. Even though slavery was prohibited, things were still not fair for African Americans. It took people like Martin Luther King to stand up against these unfair things. Using peaceful speeches and marches, Martin Luther King started to stop segregation. After the March on Washington and Martin Luther King's speech, things were much better for African Americans. Now, people from different cultures don't care what race the others are. Together, they hold up the human rights fairly. Stop racism now. Unite together. This slideshow has been presented to you by Max Binaim Drefa.
Many people stopped segregation. JFK was one of them. This is one of JFK's many speeches to stop or ban segregation from schools. JFK also changed things like this, from black people and white people sitting across from each other, but now they sit together. JFK also changed things like this, from having drinking fountains for just colored and just white people. This is another one of JFK's many speeches to stop and ban segregation from schools to drinking fountains. This one was probably the most effective one of his speeches in his career. JFK died on November 22nd, 1963. He was assassinated, got shot in the head.
Since the 19th century, there has been slavery all over the South. Many African Americans had to work in fields to produce cotton and other stuff. If they misbehaved, they were scarred with whippings. Like your typical slave, they were seen in chains. In 1863, one of the best presidents of America, Abraham Lincoln, has stopped this terrible slavery. But according to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., he said that 100 years later, African Americans were still treated unfairly by segregation. There were many signs like this. You would see them everywhere. Many things were segregated, like pools, theaters, and schools. Even restrooms and restaurants. And even drinking fountains were segregated. In 1963, exactly 100 years later after Abe Lincoln freed the slaves, Eugene Bull Connor was the manager of the public safety, so then he controlled the police force and the fire department. Bull Connor had said to a reporter that he would die to keep segregation in Birmingham, Alabama, but the African Americans were protesting throughout the streets. Because of the protests, Bull Connor ordered the police to bring dogs to fight the struggling protesters. Connor also ordered the fire department to spray the protesters with high-powered hoses. It looked like the protesters were going to be defeated, but they continued. The police and fire department started to think this segregation was wrong and refused to take Connor's orders. The simple message was, Bull Connor's plan had backfired. Those days can be remembered today because of the statue in the park in Birmingham. Thank you for watching. Rosa Parks was born in 1913 and died in 2005. Rosa Parks was really old. That's why she died. Nobody killed her. She was 92 when she actually died. On December 1st, 1955, in Montgomery, Alabama, Parks refused to obey the bus driver's order that she give up her seat to make room for a white passenger. That time, blacks could sit in the bus, but they had to obey the driver, and if white passengers came in and needed a seat, the blacks will have to stand up and make room for the whites. But she, Rosa Parks, chose not to stand up. Rosa Parks' action was not the first of its kind to affect the civil rights issue. The next picture will show people that did impact the civil rights issue. Elizabeth Jennings, 1854. Homer Plessy, 1892. Irene Morgan, 1946. Sarah Louise Case Evans, 1955. Claudine Colvin, on the same bus system 9 months before Parks. Rosa Parks was jailed for 1 night and paid a fine of $10 plus $4 in court costs when she was found guilty of violating Montgomery's segregated busing ordinance. This project was made by Robert Broadway. Thank you for watching and listening.